銀ギラ一番星を俺は目指す。
Being a fan of Japanese games can sometimes be quite a taxing process. Certain games can take an eternity to get localized, or sometimes never at all. X-Troopers, an anime-styled Lost Planet spinoff, falls right into this mix. Released in late 2012 by Capcom, X-Troopers had pretty poor sales, and it doesn't appear like this title is ever going to see a release outside of Japan. It's a shame because the unique art style and accessible gameplay seem quite promising. However, through the power of importing and the region-free PlayStation 3, any gamer that wants to give it a try certainly can. But just because you can import and play this gorgeous looking game, does it mean you should? Well, that's what you're about to find out.
お前こそよく頑張ったな。
In X-Troopers, you play as a loudmouth Gingira Vital Suit pilot Bren Turner. He often speaks out of turn, which doesn't always sit well with his peers and superiors. Overall though, he's pretty funny and makes for a great main character. His story is that he left his hometown to be a top Gingira Vital Suit pilot, but plans change when his transport ship is attacked by a group of mysterious Vital Suits. He eventually makes it safe to ADN-3 and begins training at the Nevik Academy. Throughout the game, you'll meet a fun cast of colorful characters that accompany Bren on his journey to the top. Most story segments are told through still images and voiceovers, but certain story cinematics have this very cool comic book styled presentation, similar to the PlayStation Vita game Gravity Rush. For reference, I'm pulling this story information from the internet because I actually can't read or understand Japanese myself. However, if you can't either, that won't ruin the experience for you. Watching the facial expressions of the characters paired with excellent voice work makes for some pretty entertaining stuff. X-Troopers certainly had me laughing out loud more than once. Any fan of Japanese games or anime will certainly appreciate it as well. At the core of X-Troopers gameplay, it's a mission-based third-person shooter. You'll shoot your way through extremely linear levels with goals ranging from protecting flags to defeating boss enemies. The early levels of the game can get kind of repetitive and maybe even slightly boring, but once you power through them, you're given a much more interesting variety of missions. I personally started to really get into the game once boss monsters started appearing and once more VR missions became available. VR missions are basically altered versions of past missions or challenge missions with a variety of enemies and power-ups. One, for example, has waves of increasingly difficult enemies while providing you with random power-ups throughout the mission. Another has you battling 4 giant bugs, each with different elemental types. This can be quite fun and challenging. Anyone that has ever done a raid boss before in an MMO will likely feel the same kind of exhilaration from tougher VR mission battles. As you progress through the game, you'll collect money and parts to upgrade your gear, and sometimes even blueprints to build new weapons. The power-ups are pretty basic, but give you a nice feeling of progression. You're able to wield 2 weapons at any time, one automatic gun and one more elemental based. The elemental guns provide a great variety from an electric magnum, snowman shotguns, and fire-based grenade launchers. I personally didn't like anything with an arc as they're tough to aim with, so I ended up using the shotgun a lot more once I unlocked it. During certain missions, you'll also have up to 2 teammates accompany you. Unlike you, they don't ever really die, so you can use them to supplement damage and take hits for you. You'll also be able to pilot your vital suit after a certain point in the game. It controls much like your ground troops with 2 weapons and a jet booster, but I mean come on, it's a giant robot punching things in space. Any fans of mechs and giant robots should be able to find something to enjoy in those missions. If you've been watching this video and not just listening to it, you'll no doubt have taken notice of X-Troopers' gorgeous art style. It kind of reminds me of Borderlands' take on cell shading with a splash of anime. Heck, these guys even look a bit like the Psychos from Borderlands. Environments, as simple as they may be, look beautiful, but the boss monsters are the real standout pieces. These beetle monsters in particular look really cool with their variety of elements. It was always exciting to find the next big enemy to see what they would look like. Some are bigger than others, but all are definitely unique with neat designs. The soundtrack was probably the biggest surprise to me as it's basically a mix of upbeat J-pop. Shooting waves of monsters set to smile-inducing music might seem bizarre, but it works in its own strange way. The one standout track that you're likely to get addicted to is called Starry Conversation. You can thank me later after your 50th replay of the song. A lot of you watching this video probably have been asking yourself, how you'd be able to enjoy this game if you can't speak Japanese. Fret not, my friends, as X-Troopers is one of the most import-friendly games out there. The controls are very easy to pick up and not complex in the slightest. Your base hub is small, making it hard to get lost, and the exclamation point on your minimap always points you in the direction of your next mission. If it doesn't, just talk to everyone until you can progress. That usually solves the problem. The other great thing is that X-Troopers is relatively cheap on PlayAsia at only $40, while most import games usually retail for $80. If you're looking for a relaxing game with simple controls and a stunning presentation, then look no further than X-Troopers.
行くぞ元気だ、一番星だ。